am here to deliver another value bomb for you. This video is another request from you, my amazing, my fully appreciated viewers, and you're asking me, what do you do with your first client? Like, this video is going to be the A to Z, from getting in contact with your client for the first time to actually finishing the work, getting paid, and everything else. So I'm going to walk you through step by step, and of course stay to the end, because as always I am giving away a freebie, and this is going to be the full-on checklist that you will basically use for every client that you have to go through and make sure that you did everything that you had to do. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Once a client says to you they agree to work with you, the absolutely essential thing that you want to do is get them in for a meeting. Now, this can be done online. During the meeting, you need to talk about the details, because you need to know certain things before writing the copy for them, and the best way to get the information is to actually sit down and talk with them. Now, they're having circumstances where I didn't have a meeting. It was all done via email or WhatsApp, and that can also work if you feel confident doing it that way. It might take a little bit longer. It's good if you can have a phone call or voice messaging, just in case you need to ask some additional questions, but it can also work just via text, right? But like I'm saying to you, sometimes it's better to just set up a meeting. It's an hour for each one of you, but you will be able to just get so much information across. So what kind of information do you want from them? First of all, you want to ask them if they have their client avatar done. If they don't, then you need to sit down with them and do that. I did make another video on client avatars where I actually give away the workbook that I give to my clients as part of the onboarding process, so that we can figure out who their client avatar is. So make sure you head to that video and watch it to learn how to do that. So you will ask them for that information. If they don't have it, then you would send them away with the workbook, and then you would probably set up another meeting to go through the workbook together. The second thing is, of course, as much information about the product. So you literally would just sit down and say to them, tell me about your product. Like, what is it? What does it do? How did you come up with this? Blah, blah, blah. What problem does it solve? How is it selling so far? How are you selling it? Like, what is the funnel? How do you get the people to, go from A to B, from discovering your product to buying it and whatever. Then you would talk about the copy. So of course you need to know what kind of copy they want you to write. Is it website copy? Is it landing page copy? Blah blah blah. And how do they imagine it to be? The length, whether they will have a graphic designer. Just find out as much information about the actual work that you're going to be doing for them, so that you have a clear understanding of what you're doing and of their expectations. Because the last thing you want is a client who keeps coming back to you for 20 million rewrites, right? And then you will talk about your pricing and the timeline, and also agree how many rewrites you will do for them, because maybe you want to put a limit on how many edits they ask you to do. So I also did a video on pricing, which will be in the description down below, so make sure you check it out to find out how to set your prices and feel comfortable with them. Once you have all of this information from your client, then you're obviously going to sit down to write your copy and complete the assignment. So I'm going to skip over that part, because that's your business, and if you're watching my other videos, you're going to know exactly how to do that, because I teach you everything. So once you have your copy ready, what I like to do, by the way, and this is just an additional tip, once I finish the copy, I step away from it, I give myself a day, then I come back and I read it. So always try to have it complete before the deadline, so you have the time to look at it again and just reread it and pick up any mistakes that might have creeped in at some point. So then I submit this to my client, and I already said that usually in my other videos I already mentioned that usually I would have it in like a Google document, and I will share it with my client so it stays on my cloud, but they can make a copy of it and put it on their own, or put it on their computer, whatever, right? So I like to keep copies of my work because it allows me to then later go back to them, use them as part of my portfolio, as samples for different clients, or as inspiration for myself, or to share with you, my beautiful people. So once I deliver the work, I wait for the client to, of course, have a look at it, and I wait for them to give me feedback. If they don't get back to me within, like, let's say, I don't know, a week maximum, I message them or I call them and I ask. I always give my clients the open space to discuss the assignment and whether it met their expectations, whether they like it or not, if they want me to change anything. And you have to be open to accepting that sometimes people just will not like what you wrote, or there will be parts of it that they will love, and there will be parts of it that they don't understand or they want you to change. And you as a professional will not take it personally. You will take their feedback on board and please your client, because that's what you're there to do. If you believe that the client is unhappy about something, and if you change it, it's going to affect the effectiveness of the copy, you need to voice that to them in a very professional manner, which would be something like, listen, I understand that you don't like this, but because of A, B, C, and D, I believe this will make the copy effective. Because sometimes what happens is the client wants to like the copy and they forget that it's not about them liking it, it's about their prospects liking it, and it's about the copy being effective. So yeah, sometimes we just have to sit down with them and be like, we gotta talk. Like, this is not about you, okay? Stop making this about you. And basically, it's good to have this open space, because if you give them the space to discuss it with you, to discuss their feedback with you, and then you make the changes or you explain to them why they shouldn't make the changes, then they're more likely to come back to you and want to do work with you, because they will feel comfortable to discuss new assignments with you, and then, you know, it just makes things easier. So make sure you do that, okay? Not out of a place of desperation where you're like, so did you like my copy? No, just like, listen, let's talk about it. Are you happy? If you're happy, I am happy. So if they ask you to rewrite it or correct certain parts, you go away, you do that. Again, give yourself enough time, but of course not as much as you had the first time, unless you're writing from scratch, then of course you're gonna need time. But if you're just correcting a few bits, then you don't need as much time as you needed to write the whole thing. And then you re-deliver it to your client for further feedback. So let's say that this time the client loved it and they're happy to accept the copy, and that's it, you finalized the deal, right? You delivered the work. So now what you need to do is you need to ask your client for money. Give me money. Not like that, okay? You will send them a professional invoice that just basically says, okay, this is how much you owe me for this work. This is the date for the invoice, because they need this. If they're a serious business, they need this for their own tax calculations. So you have to learn to make invoices, okay? And then, yeah, you will just give them the full amount and payment instructions, whether you want a transfer, a PayPal, whatever. Now, bear in mind that things like PayPal will take a fee from you for accepting the payment. So just pick the option that's the best for you, and you send that to them. Now, most clients will not pay right away. They usually need a little bit of time to actually process the payment. Maybe it needs to go through the accounting department. So give them some time, then chase it up, maybe after a week or two, and just keep chasing it until they pay you. And this is normal. Get used to it. Don't get offended. It's just that not everybody pays the invoice on time and right away. Sometimes they need some time to process it, and sometimes it just completely, they're so busy that they forget. But just keep chasing them and they will eventually pay. And then afterwards, if you are putting together your website or whatever else, it's good if you ask them for feedback on the general experience they had working with you and the effectiveness of their copy, if they already have some statistics on it. So you could actually, you know, maybe speak to them a month later on the phone or however, and just say to them that you want a quick review or a testimonial for your website, and if they could just let you know how the copy has performed or how they liked working with you, etc. So you basically put that into writing and then put it on your website, or you could ask them to record a video or be on a Zoom call with them. I mean, there's just so many different ways to collect testimonials. But I prepared the checklist for you, so all you have to do is click the link in the description, below, and you can download the free checklist that's basically going to be your best friend when you have your first few clients. You just tick off and you know you're doing your job correctly. Now, before you leave, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Yay! Because it makes me really happy. And thank you so much for being here. And until next time.